And we're back live in the studio with our very special guest again that we had on a few weeks ago, talking about her book on relationships. She's known as the Relationship Whisperer and known as Miss Dragonfly. Welcome again.
Thank you for that. And it's great to be back. And I am looking forward to continuing to explain about relationships, especially since I think you've got a big question for me. And I think a lot of our listeners out there might also be thinking the same thing. How am I going to be responding to this big issue and what I think about it? So,
Well, the discussion matter today is...
you're going to pop the question?
I'm down on one knee already.
And it's something I might not like to hear, but go on.
So the discussion today, we wanted to ask you a few questions about this matter called MGTOW.
Yeah.
And it's the definition of it is men going their own way.
Yeah.
And it seems to be rather prevalent today. If you see some of the talk shows and they get millions of views.
Yeah.
And apparently there's such a swell with young men
Yeah.
now that they're going MGTOW. And wondering why that is, and they put up a good argument actually, because
Okay. All right.
seems like you're raring to go with the answer.
All right. So, for people not that familiar with what men going their own way is or means, it's mostly coming from older men telling younger men, look, I've been through it before, I've married maybe several times, and don't go there. That's what I'm telling the younger ones from my experience. I guess they've been burnt once, twice shy, or maybe burnt a couple of times, and so just had enough.
Well, there used to be an old famous song many decades ago. Son, you be a bachelor boy until your dying day.
There was such a thing. I did not know. I did
It
not
was
know
a very,
that.
very famous song.
How long ago was that?
It was a few decades ago.
Was it
Revealing
popular?
age. It was very popular at the time, so that was probably one of the beginning.
Did it? I'd imagine though it would have stirred up. Did it stir up a lot of controversy at that time?
It was seen
Or
as
just
being a bit
gushing?
humorous at that time.
Oh,
And I think
okay.
that society has sort of changed in the last few decades, especially in regards to
Relationships.
marriage and relationships.
I guess, yeah, back then with that type of thing, I guess people have a bit of a laugh then and not take it seriously.
Not take it
but
serious.
it seems to be singing the tune, if it's now, singing the tune of sentiment now, particularly amongst young and, from the looks of it, really disenfranchised men.
Yeah.
Yeah, disheartened by...
Well, they've got a lot of good points about it. Because
Okay.
men do seem to get, well...
A raw deal?
A raw deal. From this side of the fence, you could say that. So I think that we probably look at things a lot from our own position, in
Yep.
our own shoes, rather than looking at it from the other person's point of view. But you can see that the MGTOW, there's quite a lot of channels out there.
Yeah, and you're familiar with what they're espousing? No.
Yeah, I'm not saying I agree with it, but it's
Uh,
a very interesting subject matter.
Yeah.
And and giving the state of relationships today, marriages today don't seem to last like what they used to.
Yeah, I get. Yeah, I guess for a lot of reasons. Okay, just a bit for people that are not familiar with MGTOW, what they're really saying, or basically bagging women
Yeah,
that they're not worth your while.
Yeah.
You're not worth marriage, I mean, or the ring, or working your ass off. And in the end, she gets everything when they've got kids, and you're left with nothing. What do you get out of it?
debts and
Debts and so forth, heartache.
and then you're also in a very contracted position to meet someone else.
Yeah, and
because you come with baggage and
so
it
forth.
is so important. Like since your last interview, it
else?
sort of stirred up some contemplations about it's so important to get the right partner.
Yeah,
It's so important.
yeah, and I guess And given the divorce rates, the very high divorce rates that we've got now, and
Well, it scares
particularly
people away, doesn't it?
yeah, and particularly, especially in Western countries, the family courts tend to favour the mother. When they've got children, I guess a lot of instances they get 70% of the assets and so forth. And so men would think, oh, that's a raw deal I've been getting. And then frequently they, the mother might play games and not withhold access to the children and as well, or fight for access or visitation rights and so forth. And thinking, work all hard on my life, give everything away to her. It's very selfish. Or they might say, didn't do anything during the marriage. I have to give everything to her, and I don't even get to see my kids. So what do I get out of it at the end of the day?
Heartache.
Yeah, heartache. And they make a very good point, because it's human nature. I mean, why would I want to? Why would I want to try that again? And I should be warning other blokes not to go through what I went through. And so this is how it's I guess.
But do you think
permeates
that
and
relationships
populates.
have failed in some way because of the new age that we're in, or
Yeah,
the
it's-
technology age? Has it differed?
Well,
since-
in terms of society, we've no longer hold on to our traditional values, at least in Western countries, and it's become more of a me generation,
Yeah.
so forth. You're there to service what I want, okay, and I want this, and this, but no one really stops to think, hang on, I'm taking all that. Should I actually give something back? Or why should someone be doing that just for you and getting nothing back? I mean, if you as someone, look, yes, as a person, giving out, you've got a friend, you keep giving it out, or keep shouting out the meals and all forth, and they just keep accepting and not reciprocating, they're thinking, what's in this friendship with
Yeah, it's a
this
one-way-
person?
it's
It's
a
a one
one-way
way.
street.
Well,
Yeah.
one-way street. Nah. No, don't want that friend.
Yeah.
And so you've got a marriage partner. You're supposed to be your lifelong partner that does the same thing, keeps taking without taking back. How would you feel as well? So it really goes to, I guess, what this MGTOW is saying. These women have been so selfish. Okay, they had a good for a while until they get older. Men, if you've divorced them, you're still right, because you can, if you've got money, you still get a much younger woman where she's aged since then, and it's very hard for an older woman with children to find another partner. What does she have to offer then? In the beginning, it was her beauty and her youth, and it's what men fall for time and time again. Okay, and so you can say women are superficial. But men
if
are-
you're looking at
yeah.
from the position of the superficial.
Superficial,
And
yeah.
if you look at most of the dating apps today, it's this swipe left or
And
swipe right or
right.
whatever
It's
it
all
is.
based on appearance,
And it's based on appearance, but it's also this instant
gratification.
and it's
For the men as well, the thing is, if you doing that, I guess the MGTOW movement is just saying women are so selfish. Let's be selfish back. Okay, just take from them. Okay, don't marry them. Okay, whatever fun you can get, you have from them. That's it. Because after like 10 years, you wouldn't want. There's a younger person a younger woman that you can go for. But then that's just for the body then.
somebody can feel like they're
The
the right
right
partner in
partner.
the beginning. And it feels like everything is so amazing and it's like, wow, it's wondrous.
Because they have
And
fun.
then how comes after a few years later,
Yeah.
many relationships, not all of
Mm.
course, but they end up hating each other.
Yeah.
And it's like, what? How could it go from that premise of
Yeah.
loving each other intimately and wanting to spend the rest of their life with a person and then the next thing you know, they're your mortal enemy.
You know what? Reality hits.
Reality.
It's because once you in that initial stages, yes, it's a bit of
honeymoon
euphoria. It's
period.
like a honeymoon period. You just have fun with that person. Might go on holidays. It's so great, and but life is more than just holidays. You just can't go on holidays every weekend. There are other things you've got to look after and take care of, like bills, money in. If you have kids, taking the kids, or dropping the kids off to school, picking them up. taking them to soccer practice.
Yeah, one parent who has a hard job with that.
To that, and so with everything else, you've got to be a team.
You've got to be a team.
You've got to be a team, and I guess a lot of these MGTOW men are thinking, well, because they've been with a lot of women that were not playing with a team, not being a team man player, so they think, well, that's the wrong person. I'm better off on my own. That's true. Okay, like I said, you're better off on your own than with the wrong partner, but they have no idea what the benefits would be and how great it is with the right partner, simply because they've never had the right partner to know.
Yeah.
True?
Yeah.
All the wonderful things that you can get.
Well, the argument of MGTOW is that if a young man doesn't marry, he's going to keep all his stuff.
His stuff,
He'll
sure.
have a nice car, and he'll have this, and he'll have that. And,
he doesn't have to share it with anyone.
Jet skis or whatever. He'll have all these toys, and he gets to keep them. But they get to keep all their stuff. You see.
Yeah, all their assets at the end of the year, and no heartache. Yeah, that's for the line that they put out.
But is there a point in it where all the stuff, because we've seen a lot of things with billionaires and multimillionaires that they're not actually really happy sometimes.
Yeah, they're not.
So it's not the materialistic things that bring us happiness.
Yeah.
Is it? And
no, because happiness, look, material things take up a lot of stress off you and give you so many options. But at the end of the day, you need more than just material things in your life. Sure, you can go wherever you want and so forth, but all your experiences you can't share with anyone because there's no one there along the journey with you.
Unless you swipe right or left and you meet someone you're
just
there.
For the day. Yeah, then share it just for the day, and that's it. But end of the day, no one gives a damn about you. You're on your own, make your own decisions and so forth. But at the end of your life, you look back and thinking, all right, you leave and then you just left your stuff and that's it.
Yeah.
It's very lonely.
You can't take it with you.
You can't take it with you, but also not even that. With the right partner, you could have even more stuff at the end of your life. Yes, it sounds really such a new concept to a lot of people, but yes, with the right partner, you won't just get double, but more than double, and what you have or what you would have been capable of accumulating on your own at the end of your life. Just think of, like I said, the analogy with the right hand and the left hand. Like last time I said, think of the man being the right hand and the woman being the left hand. And if you're on your own the rest of your life, you just worked with one hand because that's what you are.
Put one arm in a sling and see how tremendously uncomfortable it is. You can't even shampoo your hair.
Yeah, there's only things that you can do because, like I say, you can only physically be one place at a time, concentrate on one thing at a time, and have one set of skills. Everyone is the same.
Women seem to be able to multitask.
Yeah, but she can only physically be one thing at a time. She only has one set of skills. True. So think of one hand, but if you have your left hand as well, now they have to work together on the same project. No good on them doing separate other things, just like two horses drawing a carriage, but want to go in separate directions. Then you're better off just having one horse. In that case, drawing the carriage. Okay? But, and they're separate directions. So in that respect, they have to work together. And if you find, if you practice with your one hand, like I say, in the sling at the back, and you're working with just your right hand, and then you release your arm, and think of what else you can do. You can do more than double, literally more than double the amount you could have done with just one hand, because there are more other tasks that you can accomplish.
Yeah.
But they say you both have to have the same mindset that this is a team and you're a team player, and that's what a marriage is all about. It's a partnership in life, and both parties have to come to the party on this. See, so men are guilty themselves. They kind of like, I wouldn't say brought it on themselves, but they made the wrong choice in who they picked.
So where did the term MGTOW come from? Do you know about the origins of it? Men
going their own way, as like I mentioned before.
Because it's a huge matter.
It's a huge matter. It's a counter matter. And I guess it's also, like I said, men being disenfranchised and men seeing other men being put through the ringer and having everything squeezed out of him through the courts and through a toxic, their toxic relationship and former partner, their ex, and so forth. And perhaps a lot of the times they've been through it themselves, so they know. And they're normally older men, at least middle age. They're giving out that advice to men not to follow my footsteps. Don't marry. But the thing is, they don't know because they themselves have never had a good marriage. So they don't know that there's an alternative, that you can actually choose the right partner, because they've never chosen the right partner. They don't know how to choose themselves. And also, it's a lot of pushback against this third or fourth wave of feminism, which is actually quite toxic. It was no longer about equal rights. It's then women, me, women wanting more than what men did. Before it was just, we want the same rights. Now, at least in the Western world, no one can really say that can pick or identify a right that men have that women don't. Really, can anyone say that in the Western world there are rights that men have, legal rights that men have that women don't?
Good point.
Yeah. And now they're pushing, they want preferential. They want to be chosen based on their gender. I guess so, yeah. Going back, I guess that's what men were seeing all this, and they're trying to push back and say, all right, that's the way you want it. I'm leaving. You have your own space to yourself. I'm not touching you. And I guess a lot of the times, look, women don't realize that. They have at least as much to blame for causing this situation on themselves. We want this, and then wonder, where have all the good men gone? But
that
also
seems to be the common catch cry.
Yeah, catch cry. However, they're also guilty of, like the men, choosing it based on very superficial, and then complaining. Yeah, so you've heard of the terms women like the bad boy, but the nice guy they don't pick, they leave behind, and they say, and that's why the term or the phrase "nice guys finish last." And when they do find someone that's nice and accommodating, I guess this is also human nature. You tend to just push the boundary and see how much more you can push and how much more you can take and so forth. But there's only so much you can take until that's it. Okay, and then people leave. And once they do, okay, you might get the house, the kids, and you might feel great about yourself and how much power you can wield because the courts are favouring you. You've got these court powers and you've got power over how much access he has to the children and so forth. And then what happens after you are in your 40s? Then you're still lonely. If you try to find someone else, look, you have to be realistic. Your market value is not the same as it was when you initially hit up with your now ex-husband. You're not going to find that same quality again.
So good looks is an asset?
Is an asset. The high-value men then what do you have to bring to the table then? What can you offer? Because obviously it's not looks anymore. Have you developed any skills?
Yeah,
can you bring any skills?
You have to bring out the skill set.
Their skill set. Otherwise, why would someone choose? You have no skills, nothing to offer. Why would someone choose you over a 20-year-old when they get this 20-year-old doesn't bring much skills either, but they've got the looks, the youth.
But I can imagine.
And that's what you're competing with.
Yeah, like a mother's had several children and she's in her 40s or wherever.
Yeah.
And she's been at home working really hard on bringing children up because it's a hard job.
It is a hard job being a single parent.
But if there's a divorce at that stage, it's very difficult for the woman really because she's been out of the workforce for a long period of time. You know, and where's her skill sets? I mean, she might have had a skill set prior. Yeah. But being away from it for such a long time, it's almost like starting again. That's a difficult position.
That is an extremely difficult position. And so that's why, reiterating for women, that's why it's so important that you choose a nice guy. Not the bad boy, because he'll leave you at the first sign that there's difficulty. Because that's all you picked him for. It's just that dynamic, is it? Not putting up with that.
So a young fellow who's been listening to this show, and he's been listening to MGTOW. Yeah. And he's MGTOW sort of convinced. What kind of advice would you give to that person, a young man who's into MGTOW at the moment, and he's saying, "I'm never going to marry because I can hear all of these stories and on." So and
All these horror stories, and
All these
they
horror
these are those are
stories.
true stories,
And they're true stories.
and I really
yeah.
feel for these victims of these stories. Like I said, and look,
But what advice would you give?
what advice would give them? I said, look, those stories are true. That is correct, but those are the worst case scenarios that can happen to you with the wrong partner, definitely. So if it's a choice between being with those people, those type of people in that situation, you're better off on your own, yes. However, nothing could beat life with the right partner, okay? And for that, you need to be able to choose and choose carefully and know how to choose. And that's why I wrote my book. So please go through my book and saying, it's not politically correct, obviously, because if then it doesn't work. Because all the politically correct stuff are all the ones being sprouted by society and culture now, and obviously it doesn't work. Because it's so I know, yes, it's not exciting, but this is the things you have to consider for marriage, and also because you don't know all the great benefits that a true marriage would bring you, a lifelong happiness at the end.
While doing some research on the MGTOW subject, there was a call in, and one young lady was saying, "I was about to, my fiance, we were about to get married, and he listened to this MGTOW show, and now he won't marry me, and we're going to separate."
Okay.
What kind of advice would you give to young ladies
out there
that have their guys have suddenly come across MGTOW and decided to go their own way?
Okay. First thing first, I would really suspect maybe he's listened to MGTOW and they've said something that he's recognized in you that he should be avoiding. And so then you cannot blame him. Okay. But if it's truly a case of he doesn't understand.
Would it be to expand the communication?
Yeah, expand the community, actually show him why you're different from those other women. Have you been showing him that you will bring stuff to the table?
What a
showing
good
him,
point. Yeah,
showing him.
That's the key.
Not just being fun to be around,
Yes.
okay, and looking pretty every time.
Looking good and
looking
getting
good
your nails done.
nails
Yeah.
done and
Bring a skill set.
bring a skill set. Why and show why you can add you will add value to his life. So this is the big
See,
thing.
that's a great bit
Add
of advice.
value to people's life. This is very thing. Look, so many other relationship experts out there, all their relationship advice telling pointers on how to keep your partner, make sure you listen and be presentable, have dates all the time and so forth and so forth. But they totally miss the point. They're trying to force people to do something, not force, but telling people this is what you should do. But I work with human nature. So what would get you naturally to want to stay with your partner, not want to leave your partner at all? And that's if you've added value to your partner's life. If their life would be the poorer without you. Not financially.
Yeah,
just
but
financially.
even just like
the
for
quality
example,
of their life would go down.
If the last is a brilliant chef and she's into organics and she could say, "Oh, look at what I've," and then otherwise, if the guy was by himself, he might be going down to a local hamburger shop and getting some greasy sort of food, and then, but that's a demonstration of how a partner can absolutely fulfill your life, bring a great nutrition, and they could have an understanding of about all the different attributes of different foods or organics and so on.
That's changed your providing you a different perspective. Look, this is also a difference. I have to educate. Adding value. What does adding value to your life mean? It doesn't mean cooking a couple of meals and doing the washing up.
No.
Okay, no. That's look. You can get takeaway, or you can have a cook if you can pay someone to do that.
Yep.
It is actually bringing improving the quality of your life. Your life, like the quality of your life, would go down without them. Okay, like obviously they've shown you a different perspective that you haven't thought of, so they've brought another skill set, or they might be, okay, I'm going to be crass and realistic, but they happen to bring in a lot of money. Okay, like you see a lot of billionaires do. I mean, we've heard of billionaires having affairs, but their wives still stick with them. Okay, what is that? In that case, look, if they did divorce, they would get a lot of money, like some have, but their status in life, in society, in their standing, depended on their husband. So they would have lost that if they left. Okay, this is at one extreme end.
Yeah.
But on the other end, you had if they had taken care of so many of life's issues and things like, taking care of all the bills, paid on time, making sure your taxes out, all the little inquiries,
all the administration things.
all the administration times. They take so much workload and stress off you.
Women just seem to be so much better.
So much better that if they've done all that, look, and if they're gone from your life, and all of a sudden you have to take care of all of that yourself.
Yeah.
And then when do you start? And it's not things that you can hire someone to do either. You can't. There are things that you can hire, and there's things you can't.
You can't. Yeah.
Yeah. Or you got some. You happen to got in an accident, and there's dispute over whose fault it is, and so forth. And you have to go rig them around with the insurance, going backwards and forwards. You can't hire someone to do that.
Yeah.
Not even Airtasker, sorry. So you're going to have to do it. I mean, your friend's not going to do it for you.
And you've got to be able to trust the person that they've got the skill set to do it. So you can rest easy then.
You can, but one thing I just want to make clear first is that a lot of people say, "Oh, I'm single." No, I'm fine on my own. I've got this friend, that friend. I've got to call up, and they all love me and want the best for me, and so forth.
But they've all got their own relationships.
But they've all got their own lives, and so forth. And you can't.
And if your life is not in correspondence with theirs, there's a
and they don't have a vested interest in your life, really. I mean, they might want the best for you, but you had an accident. Car accident, are they going to go claim on insurance and going this part and that for you? They're not going to.
No, they might come and visit you.
And say, "Are you okay? Here, drop a takeaway for you."
Yeah.
But that's it.
But
they're not sharing your life. Yeah. In other words.
Yeah.
But however, the person that you are bringing in to share your life, they've got to have the skills to be able to do. Otherwise, you're basically dead weight.
Yeah.
If you can think about it, you just take another passenger in your rowboat, and they don't paddle or help you to do the paddle. They're just an extra weight that you've got to paddle and support as well. But if they picked up the other paddle and helped you to paddle as well, you're getting to your destination far quicker.
Yeah, it's a very good point. Very good point. There's no I in team.
Yeah.
But there is me.
And that's why, you do not need. I understand where MGTOW is coming from.
Yeah.
Then that is really coming from.
Missed the fundamental principle. Of two hands.
Two hands.
The left hand, the right hand.
Yeah.
You can do things with one hand, no doubt.
No doubt. And you're better off with one hand. This is the thing. Than with another hand that's a dead weight. And maybe even just when waiting, hard for you to even work because you're just leaning on you like that.
Yeah.
Popping off. Better off on your one hand to yourself without a dead weight, without another extra burden. However, they don't realize the goodness with the hand that actually works with you.
Exactly.
A lot of men, like I've heard, I think might have been Tom Likas, and saying
the founder of the MGTOW.
The founder of the MGTOW is saying granddaddy of the MGTOW.
Well, he had the biggest radio show, talkback radio,
really?
Either in the whole of America or the whole of California.
When was this? Was it in the 90s?
I would say it was probably the 2000s or something. But I know he's no longer on air, but he had the biggest talk show.
Okay. Yeah.
Like prime time. And he was talking about MGTOW. And he used to get thousands of callers, like so many callers ringing up, and especially young women who are extremely angry.
And offended
because I was going to get married to my fiancé until he listened to your show.
He probably said, "Oh, good boy," knowing him. Yeah, look, he's everything he says is based on his past experience.
Yeah.
Because he's been burnt a couple of times. I believe not just once.
Well, he's talking about, if you've got a 46-year-old wife, trade her in for two 23-year-olds.
Well, if that's the case, well, then you're just as selfish as she is.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
and
you're
you were
not
just
looking at the value that
Yeah.
she brings from her life skills.
yeah.
You're only looking at the superficial of
Superficial,
the
the-
young woman, young body, and whatever.
Yeah, and that's just to satisfy of only one area, really.
Yeah. And what do you talk about when you?
Yeah, but
You
I
know,
guess to him, if you want company, get that. It's almost like hiring a prostitute for the moment, and then on your own again. You have no one to nag you, bother you, and don't have to share anything of yourself or anything that you have. But one, he's never chosen the right partner, obviously, to begin with, and he doesn't know how to choose the right partner, and now he doesn't want to know. He's just telling young men to stay away. So that's his angle.
Yeah. And for a large part, that advice could be beneficial,
Yeah.
but unless they look at it from the perspective of
Yeah. Let's say,
something greater.
I'll agree. Avoid the unsuitable. Like I was saying, better off on your own than with the wrong partner. If the women you come across are selfish and superficial, avoid them. Okay. If they have nothing to bring to the table, avoid them.
Yeah.
Okay. It's not about what what you can do for me. It's that no, what can you do for each other?
Yeah.
And so forth. But that you're better off on
And
your
there's
own.
a lot of telltale signs, and that's the good thing about your show, isn't it? Like
Yes.
You pick out these little telltale
Signs
signs.
of things that you can, actually, if there's enough interest, we would bring on a second book, because my first book, this book, is basically telling me these are the qualities you need to choose for. Second book would be when you're dating, in the dating stage, what are the red flags that you need to pick up on
Yeah.
that will tell you whether or not they're matching against all that criteria that you need.
Yes.
Yeah, and that without having to invest too much time and energy.
Exactly.
Okay. That is big thing. And a lot of time, just on the first date, because the women have not been trained as well, haven't been educated. That honey, you want all this? What do you have to offer? Otherwise, it's not going to last. And why would someone firstly want you? And if you do happen to be able to convince him, why would they stay? And later on, if they do leave because you're continuing in this, what will happen to you when you get older then? But yeah, MGTOW is a big thing in the relationship and love community, love area now, and so that's what
So
I
many
have
young men,
to cover.
they've got this staunch sort of approach to relationships.
MGTOW one.
MGTOW.
MGTOW.
It's like,
And
I'm
I
not
guess
getting married no matter what happens. And because what's mostly what you see in relationships is what you mentioned before.
Yeah.
That like men and women don't really know their position in the relationship.
Don't know what's expected of them. Don't know what their duties are.
And they
so
get
they can't do
most
it.
of their advice and the most of their how to be either from what TV shows
And
or sitcoms.
They just want to get
friends.
Want everyone
influence.
to be. Yeah, the influence now is everyone be the same. Men doing exactly the same thing women do. Women do exactly the same thing men do. That's why they want women to be mowing lawns and men to do washing up the dishes. Okay, no thought as to what their natural skill sets are. Why?
And are you good at washing dishes?
Only after my own.
If you're out on a date, young
I'm
people,
serviceable.
and if you're out on a date, that's not a good question to ask on the first date. Are you good at
Definitely.
washing dishes?
Definitely not.
Are they marriage material?
But I've got other questions that you can ask.
Oh, pray
And
tell.
I think that would be covered in a later interview, because that's another can
so
of
you're-
worms. So, yeah,
That's
another can of worms.
Oh,
to
so you're not
open.
going to tell us what questions to ask
Well,
when
I
we're
think
out on a date?
this
What do we
big
say to people?
Yeah. Tune in next time.
Yeah.
Tune in next time. Well, MGTOW is a big topic, and that's what it needs to be given the space and the time that it deserves to be covered, because there's an influence in a lot of men pushing back on women, and yeah, there's a whole case for men about men that I need to speak on, and whole issues of women that I need to speak on as well.
Wow.
The two need to meet, but
You know.
but unfortunately they both have to be. You have to hold both hands to bring them together now. That's the society that we're in.
Well, thank you so much for coming into the studio
My
to
absolute
talk
pleasure.
about MGTOW. And
Yes.
thank you. It's been very enlightening. And we hope to see you again. And for all the good listeners out there, Miss Dragonfly on YouTube and missdragonfly.com.au. Is that correct?
.com.
You're a .comer?
Yeah, .com. I'm international.
Wow.
Okay, and don't forget, you can download my book absolutely free by visiting my website.
And the name of the book is?
Your Complete Partner. How to choose the right partner for love and marriage for a lifetime.
Wow. From the relationship
Whisperer. Make sure you download my book. I mean, I'm providing it free because I want to help and get the word out there to as many people as I can. And think of this as my gift to you. Okay, to help you along in your life, basically, because people don't realize that the biggest decision you can make is not with what career you take or what route. It's who you choose to be your life partner. Affect your fortune, your direction, everything. And so people are not giving it the gravity and importance that it needs. And that's why we end up with all these disasters.
What a
And
good
MGTOW.
point. What a very good point. There'll be a big diminishment in divorce lawyers and marriage consultants.
Well, that's what we all hope. So thank you so much.
Yeah, lovely having you here. Make sure you come back again.
Yeah, my absolute pleasure. Okay.
And we'll go to commercial break.
Okay. Hey, bye.
Bye.